Yes, and in our previous class we discussed what is a web designer. Web designer encompasses all user experiences, such as the desktop, iPad or tablets, and your laptops, video game consoles, printers, TVs, RSS feeds, and now watches. What are you creating for the web? Are you creating HTML language, the code? JPEG, CSS, GIFs, Flash, or even sound tracks or sound waves? Must I know all there is about the web design? Not necessarily. However, you may need to know some of these fundamentals. HTML, JPEGs, what is a JPEG, I would say, and CSS. Imagine you need to furnish an empty space. You were given the opportunity to furnish an empty space for a child. Would you furnish the place like this? Would that be entertaining, or would that be inviting for a child? Or would the child appreciate the look and feel of that particular furnishing? All these things must be taken in consideration. This would be more of what the child would be looking forward into. Something of vibrant colors. For the most part of this course, we'll be considering the use of the term front-end design. There are various natures of web design. We'll be encompassing in the scope of front-end design. So that will be dealing with developing it for the user, usually for parts of the website, controlling typography, layouts, color, graphics. Also responsible for the site planning and user interactions, user experience, and client-side scripting. Some content management also encompasses front-end design. So, would you be a specialist in HTML and graphics, etc.? It's not necessary, but however, such a broad subject as web design, chances are you will become a specialist at one of these subject matters. So dedicating your time to learning the ever-changing nature of web design to master your crafts. I cannot explain this any further because it requires that you must put in the time and the effort. Because HTML5 has now been completed, and now they are going to HTML6, which carries new tags and everything else. Take that in consideration, that you have to keep abreast of what's going on today in the modern society, with new tags are coming out, and new concepts on how the code, how it should be structured. As a web designer, you have to keep that in mind. Do I want to be or need to be a professional web designer? Not necessarily. However, when it comes down to it, if you want to explore this area for your career path, you must be proficient in the following: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's no shortcuts to it. Mastering your skills is required. However, if you're not interested in being a professional web designer, having some understanding of these subject matters still help. Exploring the different areas of web design. The different areas of web design. A generalist, a designer who is strong in the core sets of web design skills and has experience in planning, building, and testing phases of developing sites. So these particular areas or subjects, they are pretty much have a good understanding of. However, they are not specialists in one field of study in terms of graphics. However, they can build a site from beginning to end. Now, another web designer would be considered as a visual designer. A visual designer who is primarily concerned with the visual aesthetics of the website, color typography, photos, layouts, and graphics, all their primary skills. HTML, however, is still necessary and required of that particular skill or specialist. JPEGs, CSS, and GIFs, all these things will be encompassed into the Photoshop or Flash environment. Take these into consideration. Photoshop is a must to know as a visual designer. Flash, however, is a choice, but however you can know it. It's still in production. UX designer. They should not be, should not be basically compared to UI designer. They're a little different. A UX designer who is focused on human behavior, interactions, and creates designs that enable greater user experiences. They are sometimes consultants on the cost structures of websites. They are not necessarily the people that create the website itself. However, they know their audience. They know basic concepts and people, how the nature of people. They would not do all the physical work, the hands-on coding or design. However, they would give the experience or bring forth the experience to the user or the client. Interactive designer. Designers who focus on creating the interfaces that are interactive with their users and behave in the way that fosters effectiveness. This is where it differs with the UX and the interactive designer or UI designer. You would see this from time to time, UI and UX. However, the UI designers are people who would deal with, should I say, the physical part of the coding. Most of the time, they would be dealing with the JavaScript front-end design, interface design. However, they will get that experience from the UX designer. The UX will tell him or her how they want something to be done, how they want a particular interface or menu to behave. And there you go.